Hello there. I'd like to go over my Project 3 and discuss quickly how I ran it and kind of some of the architecture or how the program's put together. But to start, what I'd like to do is just starting from the GitHub. I want to go here how I cloned it. I did this test. I could go ahead and clone by selecting the URL here and taking that URL then and pasting it in to the terminal, right? Into git clone in the terminal. I'm not going to run it at this point, but this will clone the project and creates the folder here for it. I actually cloned it out of this folder here, the test folder. It successfully ran the clone. Then I'm able to run the code using, if I could find it here, the command line. Here we go. So we run it, run the Python, select or provide the URL where the tab separated variable file is. I have an input called read local, which will read it locally if it's there. If not, it will go to the site and grab it and then copy it locally. And then the validate switch here will run the model on the validate set of data. So there's also a test you could run. You could provide test here or nothing here. If you don't provide anything here, it will apply the model to the training data. So in that case, pretty much you get back matches for all the predictions on that. But right above here, I'd like to just point this out here. These are the results from running the model on the validation set. There's some success here, believe it or not. So there must be some overlap in what others put on here. But this looks okay. I mean, better than I expected. I've got some matches here, which is good. So that's it. And the process of getting it here was straightforward, although I did have to install sklearn. So that didn't come across. It recognized it in the pip file, but it didn't come across. I had to manually install that. So once I did that, this worked. As far as the code, I can quickly just discuss this a little bit. The code runs. I have the starting here in this main entry point, calls up to the main here where it runs and collects the arguments. It goes and collects the data from the site from this fetch data set function, and then depending on the command line arguments provided, it will run through and set the predictions up. Well, first it prepares the data. I don't want to go through all the functions, but in prepared data, it goes through and does things like makes everything lowercase. It does the stubbing on the words, so it'll like take that minimum part of the word and use that. And I also replaced the redacted text with mask inside upper and lowercase symbols, or I mean greater than and less than symbols. And there's I think one more thing in there, but that's taken care of to kind of process, get the text into a form, a base form, and then we run through here. So the model is created, the classification model is created here in this function, and then we run through depending on the arguments, and then provide the output that I was showing in the command line. There's a class that does this work. I created a class called unredactor, and so a lot of the function calls are calls into this class. But I think what I want to point out here, this is some of the normalization code, context entity, come down, substitute redaction characters. That's the mask, and then create the classification model. And this here, I guess, would be the meat of the program, really. So here, what I do is I take the training data, I provide it to the count vectorizer. The count vectorizer then creates the X here, the features, and a vocabulary. I grabbed the vocabulary, and what I learned after a lot of trouble was that this vocabulary needs to be used across the validation and test sets, so that you have a consistent set of features across all three. Without using this, it doesn't work. And then I provide this to the MLP classifier, multi-level or multi-layer perceptron, and it creates the fit and the model for me, which I then use when doing the predictions here, whether it's the training here, the validation. I point out here the vocabulary is here. So this is a class member that is assigned here and used in the others. And so that's used again in the validation and tests to generate the results, and then I provide back to the caller the truth, ground truth, is used, the term used, so the known values and the predicted values, which then get provided back into this get confusion matrix details, which is what puts out the output of the program. And I think that that covers it. Hopefully you're able to run the program in class and successfully, I hope. And please see the README file that has more details. I'm going to put the link. I'm going to post this video up on YouTube, and I'll put the link to the video in the README. Okay. Thank you.